So you've been out snowbiking and your hands are freezing and you're tired of wearing giant gloves like this. You'd rather wear small gloves like this. And you've been running just normal bars. You need some heated bars. Maybe you're building a dedicated snow bike and you're gonna have a perfectly good set of handlebars sitting on the shelf, or you have a bar bend that you like that just isn't available in the current options. Here's how to make your own heated handlebars. So to start, let's go over all the little bits and pieces that we're gonna need. I've assembled a complete kit. It's available on the website. Link is down below. And I had a hard time building my first couple sets of handlebars because I couldn't find all these pieces. So I've built a kit. You can buy a complete kit. It will get you everything I'm about to show you. Or if you're just having a hard time finding like just the T-valve or just the bar inserts or something, you can buy just those individual pieces that you need for your application. All right, so we got everything we're gonna need. First, you need handlebars. Aluminum is key, don't use steel. It doesn't need to be 1.1/8. If you have 7/8 aluminum bars, they will also work. So whichever ones are on your bike or you have sit on the shelf, whatever bend you want, you can use, doesn't matter. Great big tall freestyle bars, you want super low bars, doesn't matter. Use what you got. Some bars come with these rubber plugs inside, and I don't want to forget this, but you need to take them out. You got to bust them with a screwdriver to get them free and then blow them out with some air and they'll come flying out. Usually they got one on each side. Rentals almost always have these guys. So check this first. So after the bars, you're going to need some fittings. I use this fitting and I put it right in the bars. That way it's in handy reach. It's right in front of me. But if you want to use something different, I mean, that's up to you. But this is what will come in the kit. It's the same fitting the C3 uses. You'll need a plug to tap or to plug the hole where you fill it with sealant. You'll need an out. Again, you can use any fitting you want. I like these quick connect fittings. They don't leak for me. Some people got problems with them. So to go along with all these fittings, you're going to need a tap. So you're going to need an 1/8" national pipe thread tap. You're going to need the appropriate size drill bit. If you order it from the kit, it'll come with it. If you have this stuff, obviously you don't need it. You'll need bar ends. This is what C3 uses. This is what I use in my kit. They're plugged ends. You could just put pipe plugs in. You can do whatever you want, but you're going to need to plug the ends of the bars with something. You're also going to need a tap. This kit comes with the tap. It's in there. But you're going to need a tap to be able to thread the end of your bars to plug them. You're going to need some fittings for your thermostat. You will need an aftermarket thermostat if you want to use quick connect fittings or you want to use something else, but you'll need those too. You'll need line to go from the bars to your thermostat. If you buy the kit, again, you'll get a big bulk chunk. Not this much. You'll get just enough to do whatever bike you have. But if you want to use a rubber hose and a hose clamp, go ahead. You can do that too. You will need a crossover tube, and you will have to use this small line for that. And you will need some type of sealant to block the center of the bars. This is what I use. This is JB Weld Quick Weld. It sets in about 6 minutes. So I mix up all of it, put it in the syringe, and then if it's in the syringe, it doesn't go hard. So I'll do about half the bar. I'll fill half the bar at one time, kind of let it sit while sealing this, and then I can do the top. And then she's good and sealed. So that is all the bits and pieces you're going to need to do this kit. Let's have a look at what's actually going on inside the heated bars. Okay, so here is our ugly bar layout. These, man, I am not an artist. We have handlebars. These are our handlebar clamps. We've laid out where we're going to put our fittings. It doesn't actually matter if you put one in the front, both in the back, put them wherever you want. This top spigot is where we are going to drill for our epoxy. This green line represents our coolant crossover line, which would lay in here. And then we have our ends of our handlebars blocked with a gap. I like to leave about 1 inch from the line to the bars. Let's label this in and then out. When we put our top hole in, you can actually put it wherever you want the bar again. It doesn't matter, but I put it in the top. We are going to fill the center of this bar with epoxy puddle. It will go like so, usually. You cannot get it to stack up perfectly. What's happening is we pump hot coolant in the in, and I always do it for the throttle side. Depends which way you're looking at it, but we'll say this is the throttle side. Hot coolant will flow, fill this cavity up, and then it will then have to flow through our crossover line, through this line, all the way across to the other side, and then it will go around the tube, filling the bar, and back or out. So in, flows up, through our crossover line, back out around, and back out. That's why the divider in the center. You could, in theory, and I've done it, it doesn't work great, just pump hot coolant in here, and then have cold coolant come out here, or you could tee it and have hot coolant come in each side and come out the center, back to your thermostat. It works, but it takes a long time for that coolant to go from this fitting to your grip on each side. So if you ride for a really long time, it does work, but quick stops and starts, and you dump the bike in the snow. If you want your bars to get hot coolant right here really fast, this is the way to go. So let's start building some bars. So I've taken a Sharpie and I'm gonna put my center hole in here. My in is gonna go here, and then my out is gonna go in the front. I will have nice access to my control valve to turn it off and on as the day goes, and the return will just come out the front. And obviously the center is for our sealant to keep our coolant from crossing over. You're definitely gonna wanna do this and mark and hold up the fitting so that you don't get a fitting too close to the clamp and wreck your bars. Taking a center punch and punched this guy, we're gonna start drilling these. A good split point drill bit, not a wedge point, makes a huge difference in something round like this. Next we'll get our 1/8 inch National Pipe Thread tap. Don't want to tap through too far because this material is pretty thin. Looks pretty good. It's a little tight. Might go a little farther with the tap, go a little deeper. I don't want to use any oil or anything, and you don't need to on aluminum. It's plenty soft enough. But any oil you introduce or something inside the bars, it's going to not let the epoxy stick inside. So keep everything pretty clean and dry. The front hole. Doing this 3 times, so you get pretty good at it by the end. Around the front here. One thing is we're going to go ahead and tap the bar ends at the same time, get all this metal chip stuff out of the way all at once. They're pretty straightforward because they're already, this tap is built, this whole setup is built for the inside diameter of aluminum bars, so just give them a quick tap, make sure you get them in there straight, get them in there deep enough. I got this electrical tape on here so I know how far I got to go, but just go farther than you need to, and you won't have any problems. Give these guys a clean out. Okay, here's our quick layout. We got our in valve right here. We've got our port that we're going to use for the sealant right here, and we have our out here. So it's important to get these kind of in the right spot, because if you get them too low, I always suggest kind of going higher on the bars. I'm going to run out of adjustment. And then we have our bar ends here, which is hard to see, but as we already tapped, they're going to thread in, and we have our hose to go between the two. Going to thread this end in first, all the way. Then I want to make this center hose 3 inches shorter. So these are 1 inch on each end, so it's 2 inches, and then I want it 1 inch, or actually I can even go 4 inches. You just need it like 1 inch or so shorter than these, so there's room for coolant to flow. You don't want this stuffed right against the end. We'll cut it on an angle just in case it moves, but we're going to go 3.5 inches shorter. So let's get our hose out. Again, this is 1/4 inch plastic, actually truck airline, but this will come in the kit if you so choose. This is what we use for all my heated coolant systems, my carb heaters, my heated bars, everything just runs on this stuff. So we're going to put it all the way in. Hold with my thumb, pull it all the way back out. And we're going to cut 3 inches. Happens so is my finger is 3 inches long. We'll go a little more. We'll cut it right here at this D. Boom. Okay, with our hose cut to length, I then took a knife and just sliced these angled. I'll slide this back in here, and then I'm going to try and push it in a little bit past the bar ends. We'll just try and get her about the same distance. I'm going to put the bar ends in at the end. check our depth here. I had a little more wider frame, but I don't. So this end, or about here. This doesn't need to be perfect at all. Perfect. A little more. It's going to be good. Okay. Get this guy centered up with our 0-bit depth gauge. Yep, pretty much the same on each side. Now the fun part, filling her with epoxy. I got JB Weld Quick Weld. I got some Tylenol syringes, and we're just going to start building it up inside. We're going to want to take these out, because with these holes we can kind of use a zip tie or something to mush, to keep it centered. This is the least fun part. We are ready to fill this guy with epoxy. A little hard to see in the camera, but our coolant tube is down there. Now we need to build the partition. Let's start getting epoxy in there. And then we're just going to start filling her up. I use these tiny little syringes, and I do not recommend using one that small. The kit now comes with a big enough syringe to mix all your JB Weld up at one time, and you can just keep it sealed in the syringe and it won't go hard for quite a while, allowing you to layer in your center divider. Getting pretty close. More in there. Want her full right to the frickin' top. Get some access here before she dries. A little bit in the threads of this guy isn't going to be a big deal, because once this guy is in, it ain't never coming back out. Not sure how well you can see in here, but she is full to the top. Hard to see in this hole. You can see it back in there. There's a big bubble of it. You can actually see it starting to bubble in front of this fitting a little bit. So before it goes hard, I'll get in there with like a zip tie or something and push it all back. For now, let's get that top guy sealed up. Top plug in. So go ahead and crank this guy down. There's that guy tightened in. Flip these back around. And we can put our inflow valve. Now, here's the coolant valve we're going to install. It's right from C3. It's the same one that they use on their bars. If you want to find your own, go ahead. But if you order the kit, this is the little beauty that it'll come with. Again, if you're using something different, you're going to want to make sure you got a little thread sealant on there. This guy threaded in. Okay. That's probably it. It's going to be a squeeze to get my line in there, but tapered, it's this way. And I wish it was that way, crooked. But I think I can get the line in there. Just a little check of test line, just, oh yeah. Yeah. So at this point, you just got to let them sit. The full cure time is 4 hours on this, and I don't want to go put the ends in and seal them up airtight without hitting that 4-hour mark and letting them sit. So we're just going to leave them overnight. Tomorrow morning, we'll wrap them up. Okay, a couple ways we could do this. We could JB weld these bad boys in right solid. If they leak, that might be an option for you. As these are pretty chunky threads, there's not really a great sealing surface on these. You can put a copper washer in it, but it'll be bigger than your bars. You can wrap it in Teflon tape, or you can just use some threads, multi-purpose thread sealant. That's what we're going to go with. Buttload of it on here. These threads are super coarse. Do it however you want. If it leaks, well, you'll have to do it again. You're going to put a little in here just for funsies. Get her all up in there. It's probably excessive. I'm going to go and thread these guys in. These inserts are 19 mil. Aluminum on aluminum will create a decent seal. Pretty darn tight. There we go. Okay. Next. These guys around. Same deal. Lots of thread sealant here. Really freaking tight. Okay. That is a set of heated bars. Is it quicker? No. But I can say I made them, and they're a different bend. They're higher. That's why I went with these bars. They're a little bit higher. Saved me from running a riser. So, you know, is it cheaper that way? I didn't have to buy a bar riser, so I saved it there. Did I have the time? Yes. So it works for me. Does it work for everybody? Probably not. And here we have our completed DIY heated handlebar setup for all your snow biking, winter dirt biking needs. So this is our in, right out of our thermostat, this line. It comes down here, there's thermostat buried back in there. Totally separate video if anybody is interested in seeing how to do all that stuff. Leave a comment down below and I can get to that. But our hot coolant comes from our thermostat in this line. So we have a quick, easy control valve right here. Here's our separation port that is plugged permanently. And then our outflow here. Don't mind that sharp bike connector. The line was a little too short from an old setup. But having one here is handy. If something ever happens, you get a lot of comments on the internet that if this breaks, you're just going to spray it with hot coolant, but that's not really the case. The snow bike's hardly ever that hot. But having the sharp bike right there, if I do break one off or something, I can easily join these two lines together, finish out my day. See our bar ends plugged up in here. We got no leaks, had the bike run a few minutes ago. Garage is pretty small, so it didn't run it very long because it fills it right with smoke because I run a 2-stroke. DIY heated handlebars for your snow bike. If you've liked this video, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Helps me out a ton. It doesn't cost you a dime. Thanks for watching.